Fan off. Oh, my ear. Oh, right. Now let's see. I got that set up and I'm waiting. Oh yeah, it's an open world mission. There's this mission I'm trying to get started, Strike Team, and I had someone from my league, but I had to kick them out because for some dumb reason they chose today to be the they just started complaining a lot. All right, volume. I'm always forgetting about taking care of the volume right before doing my live streams. But anyways, it's someone in my own league, and at first I asked the league in general, can anyone help me complete a operation, or not operation, an alert? And only one of them replied, so I'm thinking, cool, got at least one person who's going to help. Probably gonna have to wait a while though. And at first they were tripping a bit, asking like, what did I do to get the deserter penalty? And I just simply said, don't worry, nothing important, don't worry about it. And then, hey, another member of the league. Then they were asking earlier if it was something else I did, like, did you do the mission and then leave? And I said, no. Now, where was I? Oh yeah. So first they were asking what had happened for me to get the deserter penalty, and I just said nothing important, don't worry. But then instead of leaving it alone, they sent me a private message asking if I had started the mission and then leave. I just simply said no. Then they came back to complain for a third time, asking me why did I only invite them and not invite anyone else to the group, and just leaving it to the RNG, saying, you know how people can get, or randos can get. And I'm like, oh my goodness, man, I'm just trying to play the game. Stop complaining, asking all these stupid questions. Like, just play the game. I'll never get people like that. Like, dude, it's not that serious. It's just a game. I'm just trying to play. Stop asking all these questions, trying to interrogate me. I don't even know why they were tripping so much about it. Unless... what was this fool's name? Schrodinger Cats. Hey, is that a reference to Schrodinger from... what was that? What was that series? Hellsing Ultimate. Yeah, if I remember, I think that was the name of one of the characters. This weird cat boy. Who? Yeah, that was his name, Schrodinger. Anyways, that's who kept bugging me the whole time after I initially invited him to the group. Just one question after another, basically interrogating me. And you can't convince me that it was out of... what, out of some kind of weird concern? I doubt it. But rather if it's random people or even members of your own league, if it's not, unless it's someone you know very well, it's always a mixed bag of the type of people you get in these games. OMG, my ears. That can't be me. Yeah, I have voice chat off, so it's not me. Where's the thing to ask people for help? See, league, trade versus items, cash. Oh, here we go. Okay, where's the tab? Man, I'm gonna have to go back to doing my live streams early in the morning because I can not stand how quickly the heat is rising up here. What was I looking for? Let's see. Go channel. Gosh darn it. Oh, here it is. Here's my stream. Oh, here it is. Here's my stream. It's always funny watching my own live stream as I'm playing the game. It's always funny watching my own live stream. Wrong chat, sorry. Ain't that about nothing? Wrong chat, sorry. Ain't that about nothing? Wrong chat, sorry. Ain't that about nothing? I don't know what's with all that background noise. Is it because of the fan? microphone? Is it working? Is it working? Is it working? Okay, so this microphone is definitely working a lot better. It doesn't have all that weird background noise. Still a little bit of static by the sounds of it, but not nearly as bad as earlier.
Sending your team to Rex, Sinestro's on Sentient City. Guy's already taken a squad there. When you're ready, you can use the teleporter to catch up. I'm heading to Metropolis, but I'll be monitoring your progress and I'll contact you with further instructions once you're in position.
Cool costume. I do like the idea of a costume that covers the entire body, head to toe, and it's literally like just something plain like this, logo or no logo, kind of like Green Ghost from Invincible, whether we're talking about the original male version from the comic or the female version from the animated series. I think so. Wow. I kind of like those kind of costumes. Because that's how Black Noir's costume was.
Great. You made it
in The Boys.
Team from here. Wait, where's Guy? Let me guess. He went ahead without you. Fine, you'll catch up. You need to find any data you can about Ranks' security and defenses. We're looking for any vulnerabilities or information about their plans.
Still to this day, I will always make it clear how much I hate when they did those level collapse, whatever you want to call it, where they decided that all the time and effort we put in to get our characters as powerful as possible, all the gear, all the skill points would be for nothing. Because now, if we enter a mission, it's gonna be basically all our gear is set to a certain default, so we're not nearly as powerful as we used to be, or those who aren't as strong are buffed, even if only slightly. And they said something about keeping elitists from, or what was it? Something about forcing more powerful, more experienced players to help less experienced players. I'm thinking like it's an MMORPG. People want to have their characters be like characters from DC Comics. They want their characters to be extremely powerful, however they can and however they want. So someone makes a character basically their own iconic Superman or Martian Manhunter, or they make a character who's inspired by them, who is their own OC, inspired by Superman or Martian Manhunter, and they want to feel powerful. So by basically nerfing all the veteran players' level caps, you basically take away that power fantasy. The whole idea of going in somewhere and being a one-man army. What they should have done was make it where when you enter a mission, you and everyone who's entering that mission can enter a version of it where it has that nerf. Or again, if your character is under level, that slight buff. Whatever it is, so that everyone's more even, more equal to each other when they're entering a new game, or not a new game, entering a mission, and they don't want to like speed blitz blast through it. Make it to where whatever current gear we have, as powerful as it is, and skill points we have, is made irrelevant, so that way people can play through it, maybe get all the feats they need necessary, or let those who have extremely high skill points and gear be able to play through it and get through as fast as possible. Because for some people, that's just what it is. There are feats that require you to kill as many enemies as possible. There's a certain number of them, either within that one instance or over the course of playing through it multiple times. So something like that can be good for speed running through it. Hurry up, complete the mission, start it over so you can get the feats required that involves either completing the mission or defeating a certain number of enemies or a specific boss multiple times. Oh, I just gotta go so slow. And yet, for some foolish reason, they decided, no, we're not gonna do all that. We're gonna punish everybody, especially the higher level players. How dare you have a higher level than new players? It's like, well, what do you expect? You get new players all the time. So essentially, nerfing and punishing veteran players like that, like if you're trying to lose customers, that's basically how you lose customers. Because I remember one YouTuber, the Multiverse, he was talking about something like that. Because I remember he said that a lot of people dropped DC Universe Online when they did that. Which personally, I don't blame them. That's one of the stupidest things you can do. And yet ever since, no matter how clear so many people made it that was such a dumb move, the developers are just like, well, we don't care, get over it. Doing pretty well so far, considering it's just us two.
Well, you can't leave without him. He'd never admit it, but he may need some backup.
Some of these storylines they have are pretty fun to play through. Like the ones involving the Green Lanterns. Just this whole science fiction thing going on. It's just no fun when we have to team up with Guy Gardner. That guy... Seriously, I don't know how it is he's got a lantern ring. That guy ain't willpower. He's just straight up dumb arrogance. Like he's clearly struggling with our kilo. We come in, we help, and he's all like, why did you bother interfering? I had him on the ropes. No, you did not. Not to mention, it's called the Green Lantern Corps, not Guy Gardner and his incredible green power ring. Hey, that almost rhymed. Green ring. Anyways, I hate how for New 52, I can't remember if it was New 52 in general, or if it was just the animated films that were originally based off of the New 52. The DC animated movie universe technically started with Flashpoint Paradox, and ended with the Dark Side War Justice League Dark Side War, before going into the Tomorrowverse. Anyways, they essentially made Hal Jordan from those films their own version of Guy Gardner. Like literally, it's just like he's only Hal Jordan in name only, but has the absolute arrogance and obnoxious attitude of Guy Gardner. same company that made DC Online, if it was supposed to be a different company, there was supposed to be a Marvel MMO that was going to be a lot like DC Universe Online. So essentially Marvel Universe Online. That would have been so awesome, but nope. It was like literally, what was it, months later? Yeah, I think it was either months later or it was within that same month that it was announced that it was immediately announced. They announced it's canceled. It's cancellation. I was about to say cancel. I don't think that's even a word. But anyways, I'm like, what's the point of why'd you get our hopes up like that? Talking about you're gonna start working on that, and then all of a sudden you're just like, nope, pulling the plug already. No Marvel MMO for you. Because they had one like that. Marvel Heroes Omega. It was nowhere near as good as DC Online. Simply because you start off with the character. If I remember, the ability to unlock other characters to play as from Marvel, because you didn't get to make your own character, you had to play as a pre-established Marvel character. But you know, being able to play as pre-established characters is fun and all. But if I remember, there was like so much grinding and other stuff you had to farm. To the point where I didn't even get very far in the game. Because that's one thing DC Online has, is an entire storyline where you get from level 1 all the way to level 30, and you don't need any teammates. The stuff such as needing a team to do missions, that doesn't come until after level 30. And even then, that's only some. That's most of the missions, duos, alerts, and operations, or raids. But not most, there are plenty of missions that are single player that you can do. Not to mention people queue up for these missions anyways all the time. So it wouldn't be hard pressed to get a group together if you interact with enough people in this game. But Marvel Heroes Omega, man, trying to get anyone to team up with you. Like either everyone wanted to play together with only very specific people, which I don't blame them, but it was like just way more of them. Not to mention just trying to set that up, trying to learn how to communicate with people, it's just so complicated. I don't think there was even a gear system in Marvel Heroes Omega.
You shouldn't have gotten my way. I can handle.
So overall, the game was.
Cats and trees you could have been rescuing. Seriously though, this is war, kids.
Overall, the game was just no fun.
I've already started decrypting the intel you recovered.
It had like the combat wasn't too bad. It was like DC Online in that it's simplistic,
I'm sending you to free our brothers in arms.
not complex, but still quite
I need
fun.
you in Metropolis right away.
But then it's like the longer you play it, the less fun it becomes over time, and you're just like, ah, man, it's just, I don't know why I'm playing this when I could be playing DC Online. So that's why for me, I'm not saying the game should have been canceled, because I'm pretty sure there were some people who actually did enjoy the game. Me personally, Marvel Heroes Omega, I don't really miss it. Gonna tell me 1 second. Now, what was I gonna equip? ABC, Dairy. Here we go. Just gonna say K and run off, huh? Oh my goodness, what was my emblem? Reminded me of Cyborg Superman. You know, initially I had this character named Mr. Marvelous, which it was funny at first, but I wanted him to have a name that I could take more serious, because he's meant to be a bit more of a serious character, as in not like completely no nonsense, always stoic. More that he will use his powers for the greater good, but he will not hesitate to use lethal force if necessary. It's just that he knows not every situation is necessary to require lethal force. So basically, like Marvel's Superman, Gladiator, Hyperion, and Sentry. It's weird, like on the one hand, a part of me thinks I like Sentry, on the other hand, another part of me can't stand him. Primarily, it's the fact that literally every time Sentry shows up on screen, man, cool power armor. Anyways, every time Sentry appears not on screen, on panel to do anything, always, it's cool seeing his powers at work, just how powerful he can get. But I can't remember the last time there wasn't a storyline where Sentry was one of the main characters, and it didn't always obviously end up leading to the Void becoming a problem. Or even certain storylines where it was a major crossover event, and he ended up joining eventually, like how he joined towards the end of World War Hulk, where Sentry went all out against the Hulk, which was cool. But then it was obvious he wasn't in the right mind space, considering how, despite everything Hulk was doing, it was said that Sentry was just standing at the doorway of his home for just hours on end. Hours or days, they said. So just standing around doing nothing while Hulk is just rampaging. Which I get, you don't want to send out your heaviest hitter. Wait a minute, where was Thor? Anyways, you don't want to use your heaviest hitter just yet till the very end, so that way the whole event doesn't end too early. Something like that. I don't know, maybe they could have done something other than just he can't go out right now because he's spending all this time constantly debating whether if he should use his powers or not.
You will give me the information, or you'll be taken to
But that's
almost
always been the thing with Sentry. One moment he's able to go out there, be all Mr. Badass and whatnot, kick all kinds of ass because of how, my goodness, the wind, because of just how powerful he is. And other times he's just all like, oh, nope, my mental health problems are keeping me from doing literally anything. Or he ends up going around doing something, but then, oh, wait a minute, here comes the Void. And almost every time he becomes the Void, it's always him, it's whether as the Void, or when he's still Sentry, but he's going through another bad case of bad mental health. Or during the time when he was initially killed and then resurrected with the Death Sea by, what was it, the Apocalypse Twins. And during his time as Death Seed Sentry, which is basically just Sentry but without any of his mental health issues because his mind was clear for the first time, or clear for an extended period of time, for the first time ever. And he was fighting Thor, and he was absolutely dominating. All because his mind was clear. He wasn't going through bad mental health issues. And Emma Frost was the one who explained how the Death Seeds don't make you more powerful. It doesn't increase your power one bit, it just clears your mind. In other words, Sentry was able to focus and use his power better. And I think the Sentry was fighting Thor the way he was, dominating him with almost no issue, as they kept going back and forth with Sentry constantly getting the upper hand at times, combined with Sentry not hesitate in his actions, all of that. I think that scene gave us a look at who Sentry really is. That unlike the other so-called Marvel Superman, Sentry on his own when he's usually his gold-colored self plays at being a hero. When the reality is, he's more of a superpowered authoritarian in a way. Which, in a way, kind of like what Gladiator is, but at least Gladiator knows what he is and is honest about what he is from the beginning. He never once tries to play the role of a hero. He's a superpowered authoritarian who's trying to protect the Shi'ar Empire. As long as it's protected, anything else going on in the rest of the universe doesn't really concern him much. Moments like this where someone can literally keep one person trapped almost indefinitely with the other person having to save them. Moments like these just suck. Now where was I? Oh yeah, so Sentry, well then again, Sentry was a drug addict. A drug addict who came across a superpowered formula which he ingested, thus giving him his powers.
Return to the battle.
Hey, I'm actually free. Oh, that is some bull. Ah. That is some high octane amounts of bull, man. Hey, hey, hey. Anyways, I think what it is that I don't actually like Sentry as a character. I think what it actually is for me is that I like the costume and the powers that he has. Like, that's what I actually like about him. Everything else, his storyline, how they handle it, his overall character, either I completely just dislike it or I don't care for it. So we're definitely gonna have to get rid of the ads. Dang it, let me just free all these guys in.
That is a great mistake.
What sucks is when I remember these lantern guys don't stay here very long.
I want you to join us, Harrison. And the things that matter. But first we must do. Soon you'll be ages.
How did Genki manage to get us into the strike team operation when it's supposed to be? It's supposed to be 4 players specifically, and not to mention a version of it that makes that seem so much easier. Man, how many times do I have to blast you? Go down already. Okay, so is it the Intimidators or the Sinestro over Intimidators like healers? That would explain so much. I always kind of find that interesting. You have this character, you have this NPC enemy who heals everyone else on the field, but they are unable to heal themselves, really. Okay, seriously, enough with the ads already. And can we please have enough time to focus on the bosses themselves? Okay, either Lisa Drek is healing Parasite constantly, or are the Blue Lanterns healing now? Because I know healing is an ability Blue Lanterns naturally have. Oh, that better not be the case. Go away. So get rid of all our allies. Moody 13 games. No, this is I don't know why I said no. You guys people want to do it. This is PlayStation. How is Percy constantly healing? I mean, at least we're healing constantly, but seriously, how are these guys constantly getting back health? Makes no sense. I hate bosses that can heal. In any game, stop healing. This game is already long enough as it is. And enough with the jailers. Stop taking away our Green Lantern and Blue Lantern highlights. I hate you. I hate you, jailers. If I remember, they should be able to already. If I remember PC and console, like it doesn't matter what you're using to play, you should be able to play together regardless. If I remember, the issue is not rather if you're playing on PC or any console, but rather like what servers you're playing on. Because I know there's at least the US servers, which I'm playing on, and there's the
Crush the life out of you.
There's the US servers, and then there's the EU or European servers. Hold on a second. They killed that person very fast. Are they speed hacking? I don't think they're speed hacking because they're not killing any of the bosses fast enough. Go away! Seriously, I'm trying to attack Drac. But anyways, literally anytime I try to get close to Lisa Drake. Any time I try to get close to her, suddenly someone or something else comes along and gets in the way. It's like trying to play against a zoner, a rushdown, or a grappler in an NRS fighting game. What am I getting hit by? Is that Parasite doing that? Or is it Lisa Drake doing that? What time is it? 6:30? I have still got to take a break from video games and go. Oh my goodness! This is the third time! Why am I getting hit by the warden? Why am I being trapped by the warden? Although maybe it's a good thing that it's me getting trapped by the warden and not Inky, since Inky can heal.
one thing to question prisoners of war, it's another to torture them. I'm glad you were able to put a stop to it. On the war front, Ranks is not happy. Our mission has provoked him into mounting a counterattack against our forces in Metropolis. Guy's already out there. I need you there as well.
Man, I've already been streaming for an hour and 30 minutes. Time flies. Hey. My goodness. You know, this costume, the Daring Vigilante, it only works better if you have like a big cape to go with it. Seriously, the amount of stuff they require you to get in order to the amount of replay tokens you would need to unlock some of this stuff instead of just getting it naturally from the game is, is ridiculous. 22 for Magic's Champion. And what about the enhanced version? Also 22. And 35 for Nabu's Chosen. What the heck is taking them? Catwoman, be right back. Son of a... Oh my goodness. I could just go without it. Kinda like what Blue Marvel did. Hey, I wonder if they would do something like that. Blue Marvel, Red Marvel, all of that, leading to a sort of, maybe not like a whole official team or anything, but just something fun and silly for like a single issue or a mini arc. Like maybe, I'd say maybe like up to 5 issues. Five issues, maybe 3 total. Where Blue Marvel leads a team of others with similar abilities like him, and they all are just like different, a certain type of Marvel. Purple Marvel, Blue Marvel, Green Marvel, White Marvel. Did I already say Red Marvel? Black Marvel, all of that. It'd be something like that, with Blue Marvel as the leader. Kind of like Power Rangers, obviously. But instead of so kind of like Power Rangers, but everyone can fly, and Blue is the leader instead of Red. What is going on with my microphone? Hey, wait, is my microphone still working right? Can you guys still hear me? Hello? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's working on my phone. I can hear the audio just fine on my phone. Can you guys still hear me just fine? What's up, Thank You? Why are they just standing there? Come on, we got a mission to do. Sorry, bag. Alright, let's go. You know, when I originally made my other character and I named him Mr. Marvelous, that was more based off of the Marvels in general. Not the Marvels like the movie, but just the various characters from Marvel Comics who has Marvel in their name. Blue Marvel, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel.
Help any wounded Leonard you find. Also,
Hey, good man, these guys go down that fast? I should have just been started this part of the mission while waiting for Inky.
shut them down.
Not that I wouldn't either.
I'm headed to the
Not that I
JSA
wouldn't need her
headquarters to
eventually.
recuperate.
Wait, is that her?
Thanks.
Yeah, it is. I remember the comic. I don't know if they're gonna do this in the Invincible. But is the Invincible cartoon still going on? Because if I remember, I think the cartoon so far has up to season 2. I don't know if there is anything about a season 3 being planned. Anyways, from what I remember, for Invincible in the comics, at some point Mark traveled through time, kind of going back into the past, and stops his father from killing the Guardians of the Globe. Only it wasn't the main timeline, so he essentially ended up creating an alternate timeline where the Guardians of the Globe lived. Some weird, I think it was a butterfly effect, where he didn't actually change time overall, just essentially created a brand new timeline. Confusing. I prefer storylines that do time more straightforward, as in whatever you do in the past has immediate effect on the future. And that's it. None of this, oh, you've actually created a separate timeline. All these events from our timeline still happen. This is now an alternate timeline where things just happen differently. No, it's just one whole entire storyline that is 100% linear, and it's literally whatever you do in the past has immediate effect on the future. And that's it. Because if I remember, it wasn't Kim Possible movie. That was a different thing. It was another Kim Possible film that involved time travel, and that's how it went. Where literally everything that happened in the past had an immediate effect on the future, or specifically Kim's time, which is the present. But I can't remember the last time I seen any storyline that did that specifically. It's almost always this whole butterfly effect. Because of them traveling in time, this happened or that happened, or you can't meet your past self, otherwise you turn old, which makes that itself never makes sense. I don't know where that came from. Or actually, since you're here in the past in this spot, your younger self from here in the past is now in your spot in the present, which is the future for him. If I remember, was it initially Mortal Kombat 11's way of doing time a lot more simplistic as well? Yeah, it was. Between the second tournament that happened 25 years prior to the present at that time. So literally whatever happened to whatever injuries characters got from their past incarnations, from the MK9 storyline, those characters ended up the same injuries, whatever has an effect on the characters immediately from MK11's the whole 25 years later. Which was weird when Sonya Blade ended up when she was fighting both versions of Kano, and any injury she caused to Kano, the younger version, his present versions immediately felt that pain. It's like, but that's a whole 25 years. He should not be feeling that. Like, those are injuries that literally after 25 years would have healed up just fine. It was literally just basic. What was it? A punch to the gut, a knee to the gut, a punch to the face, all of that. Kano should not have been feeling all of that. At least the present version. The only time it made sense was when she ended up killing the past version by shooting him in the head. That was kind of dumb of Kano. He did have the leverage. He could have got rid of Sonya and Johnny as well, like killing Johnny, thus getting rid of Cassie and all that. Only for Sonya to be all like, oh, so that's exactly how it works entirely. Thanks, Kano. For what? For teaching me how it works. Like, dude, she has your past self held hostage. But then again, that's Kano for you. Always arrogant. You know, a part of me still wants to, like, I've heard that they're not going to be giving any more support for MK1 now, which sucks. And I'm still mad that throughout the whole time, at no point does Kano, Sonya, and Jax ever got to be playable in the game. Like, Sonya and Kano have been there since the very first Mortal Kombat, with only a small handful of games that they didn't get to be playable in. And there's also the fact that Jax, ever since his debut in Mortal Kombat 2 onwards, he's been a playable character. He even got to be in his own spin-off game, which, yeah, it sucked, but he still had his own spin-off game. The only other characters who had their own spin-off games where they're the main playable characters in an adventure game of sorts are Liu Kang and Kung Lao, Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks, which unfortunately we never got a sequel or a HD remaster like Ed Boon had teased many years ago. And also, who was the other one? Not Kuai Liang, Bihan Sub-Zero. And with Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero, which you think with a name like that, kind of with X-Men Origins Wolverine, when I initially saw those, gave me this idea that it was going to be more like that, but for other characters, where it's going to be exploring the mythologies and origins of a specific character, where MK Mythologies Sub-Zero obviously explored the origins of Bihan before the first tournament. And presumably that we would get other characters where it'd be like Mortal Kombat Mythologies, Jax, Kano, Liu Kang, all of them. But that was just like an idea that I assumed that they were going to go with.
Starting to wonder if there's even a point.
Which, needless to say, obviously they didn't, unfortunately. But oh well.
And then they cut down another.
I'm doing everything I can to stabilize them. But we really need to get all these wounded to Sornik Natsu.
It's time. What the hell? It's the Sinestro Corps. Kick their asses out of here.
matter of whose perspective are you seeing it from. Are you playing the same mission, but as the villains or as the heroes? That whole thing. Excuse me, I gotta see what time it is. 6:51 p.m. Okay, I thought it was like 7 or something. For some reason I still keep forgetting how much they move the tabs around.
Ring, protect me!
Oh,
What are you doing? The mission's still going. You know, these bombs should not be... These bombs should go down in just 1 or 2 hits. Shouldn't take me like 3 punches. I wish it wouldn't spawn so frequently. My goodness. Like, the main threat should be the Sinestro Corps themselves, not these dang bombs they keep sending. I gotta say, it's gotta suck being a member of the Sinestro Corps, because only someone like Sinestro would specifically demand that his members of the Corps put their lives, well, it's one thing asking your soldiers, your warriors to put their lives at risk, but Sinestro would be the kind to order his soldiers to literally go on a suicide mission, as in keep these people at bay while the bombs go off. Well, how will we get out of there before the bombs go off? Don't say anything about you getting out of there alive. Whereas if it was members of the Green Lantern Corps, it'd be more of take out the members of the Sinestro Corps, then set the bombs, and then get out of there. Then detonate the bombs once you're out. It was weird how I got into the whole rant about timelines and storylines that did time, how they always do with the whole alternate timeline thing instead of just being linear, which is the way I prefer time to be. I got into all that because I was just talking about, initially I was talking about the Guardians of the Globe and how they were killed by Omni-Man and how Mark went back into the past and saved them in the comic. I don't think they haven't done anything like that in the show yet. They haven't got to that part. But anyways, in the comic, he goes back in time, saves them, but it only just creates an alternate timeline where they live, which is cool for them. But still, I'd rather be a timeline where, or not a timeline, but the main timeline. So that the Guardians of the Globe, the original version, would be alive and well. So that way, the Immortal would have his old teammates back. Why was I the first one he had to attack? Fuck you. This is the 3rd boss fight, the 4th boss in general overall. as it is we're getting new iconic abilities every now and then, it still would have been nice to get a brand new power set. It sucks because originally we were supposed to get a power set based off of Bane and his usage of Venom, and it said it would have involved attacks that boost your power as well as what was it? Oh yeah, even grappling attacks. They were gonna initially implement grappling attacks with the Venom style, whatever, the power based off of Bane. So a style that's all about being up close and personal. Which would have made it very unique, because every other power has like some of its own attacks that involves physical attacking the opponent, but most of it is like projectiles. In some way. There's very few powers in this game that aren't like some type of physical attack, actually.
Saint Walker will use the blue light of hope to stabilize Guy.
As far as like the main powers that you get. Man, it's just one boss fight after another. Man, Bruno over here trying to look like a more human-looking Hulk. See, a body type like that would have been cool to have, where it's the same as the large body type for the male, only it's even bigger, but it looks better because it's bigger, because the large body type, even at the tallest height, actually looks shorter than even athletic. Either the same height or either the same height as athletic or slightly shorter. But I would have preferred if it was more like this with Bruno's body type. Both larger and significantly taller, like at least a foot taller than athletic. So that way, if you want a character who's a big juggernaut or Hulk character, like Hulk, basically Hulk, big juggernaut, like those guys, or they're not just tall, but they're very big as well. And I would have used something like that too. And if they would have released that power set based off of Bane's use of Venom, that would have been perfect. A lot of people use that to make Hulk, the Abomination, Bane, or even using the large female body type, but still also using the body type or the power based off of Venom. If they were to implement that as well, they would have used that to create She-Hulk, Titania, and other characters whose power is literally just being big and strong and durable. Hey, we can use that to make damage too. But again, they never did that. Hey, how come there wasn't powers like that for the Red Lantern? Since part of the Red Lantern's main thing is spewing plasma from their mouths, I'm kind of surprised that's not the interruptible attack. Just a beam of red plasma, but your character fires it from the mouth instead of just from their hands. So yeah, I definitely would have been able to make some pretty good characters. Not any iconic tiger, I don't make mistakes. But I could have made some pretty good OCs that would have had that. Because that's literally what one of my main characters, Rhea, I designed her to be like that. Where her whole character's main power, lore-wise, is literally just super strength, durability, stamina, and endurance. Like great speed, but not like super speed like a legitimate speedster. More like someone like Rhino or Shuri, where they're able to move faster than For some reason, they dropped the whole idea of doing the Venom power or Bane style. They just dropped that as a power set overall. That never went anywhere.
On behalf of the Green Lanterns, and Guy in particular, thank you. But something is going to have to be done about ranks.
So see, that didn't go anywhere. And you know, there's a few iconic powers that they have that only the Iconics themselves get. That would have been awesome to have. Like Cheetah's fighting style. You wouldn't even have to make... I'm thinking like you wouldn't have to necessarily make that a full-on power set. Just the fighting style alone I would have been fine with. Me personally. I would have been fine if they only implemented just a fighting style based off of Cheetah's slashing attacks. With either an artifact ability or an iconic power. One or two iconic powers based off of Cheetah's ability to slash at such fast speeds. And yeah, obviously that never ended up happening, unfortunately. So let's see, a fighting style based off of Cheetah, in other words, slashing or claw attacks. A power set based off of, or not even necessarily a power set, just a couple of iconic abilities based off of Plastic Man. That way you can combine mental with either brawling or martial arts, one or the other, and have at least, I'd say like two iconic powers or iconic abilities. Based off of I keep thinking Mr. Fantastic. I meant to say Plastic Man. Plastic Man or Elongated Man. Like one could be just your character stretching their arms out in a line to like stretching out one or both hands to strike an enemy, strike a target, and that's it. Like it's just a extended punch. And then the second iconic ability would be a pull, where they're literally just reaching their hand out to grab the enemy and pull them in. So needless to say, that would do less punch. That the pull, the stretching pull would do less damage than the stretching punch. But at the very least, pull the enemy in. So combine two iconic abilities like that based off of Elongated Man and Plastic Man, and have mental combined with a few costume pieces. You got a perfect set for Martian Manhunter. Unfortunately, they never implemented that. Which at first I assumed would be just how difficult it would be to animate that. Especially if a lot of people started using it all at once in close proximity. That could do something to, like, if the game could handle that. But then there was others who said that the game could actually handle rendering that. Which I'm thinking, yeah, does actually kind of make sense. But I guess the reason why they didn't, because there's already so many, not only just so many powers that involves pulling in the enemy, but already so many attacks that already do that. Like Wonder Woman's lasso ability is an iconic power that pulls in the enemy. I'm thinking like the difference though is that hers stuns the opponent when you pull them in. But then if you switch, if there's a, I think there's a specific, yeah, not just for tank roll, but you have to have tank roll and an artifact that affects the effects of Wonder Woman's lasso, where instead of pulling the enemy towards you as soon as you use it, it creates a tether to multiple enemies. once you upgrade the artifact enough and you get it up to level 80 so you can use it properly, it creates a tether to multiple enemies, and anywhere you go, the enemy gets pulled along.
This is Lantern Jordan. A war of light has begun, and the Green Lantern Corps needs your help. Travel to Mogo. He's a sentient planet in orbit around Earth. Don't worry, he's on our side. He's a full-fledged member of the Corps.
Well, good thing the sun is finally setting. Not fully nighttime yet, but it's not as warm as it was earlier. Now that I got a mic I can use, hopefully now. Oh, got to go. Excuse me.
Keep your chin up. We'll win this war. Let's just hope the cost isn't too high.
You're welcome. See you later. I remember it was a live stream. It was specifically the it was Multiverse who was live streaming along with, what was her name? That girl from AU. And I was explaining to them about my character Centurion, how he's a Superman. Centurion is obviously a Superman type if the costume wasn't obvious enough. But the costume itself, the colors, and even the name was more inspired by Marvel. So basically a Marvel style Superman type. Because I'm thinking, how can you make an original character who is based off of Superman and make them DC style without just making yet another Superman, or making them a part of the Superman family? Because it's like, what if I want a character who's a Superman type, but without all of a sudden, oh, he's actually related to Superman, or I don't know, something like that. That's why for me it's easier to use Marvel's idea of a Superman type, like Hyperion, Sentry. Who else? Hyperion, Sentry, Gladiator, Blue Marvel, Sun God. And I'm trying to remember, who are the other characters from Marvel who are Superman types? I do not know if... Can you count Icarus of the Eternals? And I'm not... like... because Icarus has those same powers in the comics as well. Flight, strength, optic blast. Because if I remember, the way they were in the comics are the same as they are in the film, where he draws power from cosmic energy like the other Eternals, and his optic blast are not heat. From what I remember, they're not heat. They're just extremely powerful, that they can pierce through objects because of how powerful the beams are. It's essentially the same thing with Cyclops' optic blast. where it's pure concussive energy, so there's no heat behind it. Basically, like being punched, but by pure energy.
We serve the edicts of
Oh
great.
my goodness, what am I doing? Malakandra Hunter. I'm so glad that they have an entire set based off of Martian Manhunter. Not to mention, it's easy to put a bunch of costume pieces together to make the classic Martian Manhunter costume. Unfortunately, the classic Martian Manhunter costume only works well for a male character. Because if you try making classic Martian Manhunter, but with a female character, it doesn't look good, like at all. Because they don't have shorts like that or trunks like what Martian Manhunter wore when he made his debut. Because for the male characters, the trunks or the briefs is what they call it. The briefs the male characters get is literally just Anyways, for the female characters, it's just underwear, and the female characters' underwear, it just doesn't work that way. It doesn't work well. Although one of the things with Martian Manhunter is the fact that his costume, his original costume, it's not bad or nothing. Because you're thinking, he's a Martian. He's from another species, another planet. So obviously, for his species, minimal clothing wouldn't be a bother to them, considering the fact that, one, they are shapeshifters. Two, obviously their culture is much different than how a human society's culture would be. Hey, cool costume. Now, what was I gonna do? I'm gonna switch back to Centurion, quickly put everything back. So anyways, Malakandra Hunter, that whole set is based off of John's New 52 costume, whereas there's plenty of pieces you could put together to make his classic costume. Though the thing is that for his classic costume, his cape has a bit of a high collar to it. So if you want to make a costume for Martian Manhunter that looks almost very authentic, you would need something. Well, in my opinion, Nabu's Chosen works perfectly along with Magic's Champion. Like what I have for Nor. That's Nabu's Chosen, the cape, along with Magic's Champion, looking like pieces to hold the cape to the costume.
My greatest triumph was at hand. The final
And heck, if you want to make a character based off of Martian Manhunter, you could just go right here to preset, and they got him right here. So at least this game has enough respect for Martian Manhunter not to leave him out like DC keeps doing for so many of their projects over the recent years. But obviously, you switch to the female set. Needless to say, it's obviously based off of Miss Martian. Miss Martian having long red hair and having more clothes covering herself when she made her debut in the early 2000s compared to Martian Manhunter. Like the large body type, it could have been better. Like I'm thinking, make it a full head taller than athletic, and a bit bulkier too, like a bit bulkier than this. What's what's interesting is that Martian Manhunter, he's supposed to be like Superman in that he's a very well trained hand to hand combatant, and his fights when it comes to purely hand to hand, but without pure hand to hand, without using any of his shape shifting and without using his psychic abilities, he showed that he can fight with the best of them. But of course, Marvel, DC keeps giving him the short hand of the stick and having him lose to characters who theoretically he should be able to either fight on equal footing with or outright defeat. Some cases, like when he fights Zod in his group, he went down pretty easy. Of course, that was meant to be Superman's storyline, so of course Superman is supposed to be the one to defeat him. Which I'm thinking, why even have Martian Manhunter there then? At least have Martian Manhunter there to fight one of Zod's henchmen then. Because usually Zod, when he goes out and does his thing, he has like 2 henchmen with him. So because it was like in New 52, it was Zod, I think it was Feora, one of the female Kryptonians who works with Zod, because it was like Feora and 1 or 2 others. And there was a third one, I think it was a guy. And it was Superman and Wonder Woman fighting against them. Where Wonder Woman was holding her own because of her martial arts skills, but she was overall not as powerful as the Kryptonians. So that's why overall she wasn't overpowering anyone, and that she was holding her own because of her combat skill, but she ended up losing just because they were just way more powerful. Like, so yeah, this is part of why trying to create a female Martian and give her a costume based off a classic Martian Manhunter does not work, because the breeze for them is basically just a thong. That's all it is. It's almost like a thong. It just barely covers enough of their backside, enough of their butt, just to keep it from being a thong. And it doesn't go well with any of the belts. So in the end, unfortunately, no, you would not be able to create a pretty authentic looking authentic female Martian based off of Martian Manhunter's classic costume. It's always going to end up being based off of Miss Martian. Also, I want to get my own 2 cents. I've seen the recent trailer for Superman, and I gotta say, so far the way they do Superman's personality, I'm liking it. But even Lois Lane herself, I'm thinking, man, why do they always gotta have Lois start off as a real bitch towards Superman or Clark? Like, I'm thinking like she's gonna know in that film that Superman is Clark, which I don't have a problem with. It's just weird how she's questioning him, and apparently she's just constantly asking questions like he says, Well, I prevented a war. I saved lives. And she said, like, saying stuff like, "You went into another country, representing, acting as a representative of the U.S." And he's like, "I wasn't representing anyone but myself." And he was even saying, he even got irritated because at one point he said people would have died. It's like, yeah, it's true. People always, and it's just like real life. It's always the smaller details, or even details that should not matter, that people always care about. Like, one man goes and puts his life at risk, prevents an entire war between two countries, continents even, but everyone wants to say, well, he was just a representative of this group or that group. Or maybe he just didn't want to see people go into war. It is true, just like how in real life, people, you go out of your way to do the right thing for other people, and yet others will never appreciate it. I don't know why, but for some reason I just find it weird. Hey, why isn't it that when it comes to the presets, why isn't Superman its name at the top of the list? It should be like Superman, then Batman, then Wonder Woman. Like in the order when they made their debuts in the comics. All those years ago in the 1900s. Anyways, so I'm thinking, yeah, that's what I like about Superman. That's something hearing Cavill's Superman was like that wasn't like at first that I found irritating. He found himself constantly questioning and doubting himself so many times. All because of the way, part of it being because of the way his father John Kent raised him. Essentially, no, don't save these people. Don't save those kids from that bus from John. You should have let them die. Why'd you use your powers? No, don't save me. Let me die in this tornado. Even though, literally, he could have saved him. There would have been plenty of time. Like, there's a whole tornado going on. Like, the way they did a lot of those scenes, they really just made John Kent look like a jerk. Like, Clark even asked him, what was I supposed to do when it came to saving those kids on that bus? He's like, what was I supposed to do? Let them die? And that damn fool had the nerve to be all like, I don't know, maybe. Like, maybe Clark should not have done the right thing and used his powers to save those kids, even if a couple of kids on that bus, one of them had to be a bully who tormented him for no apparent reason. Because that's the kind of person Superman always is. Hey, why is ice the power that's used if you have a preset based off of Superman? Like, why ice? Why not something like fire? Like, yeah, the sun itself is not fire. It's more or less like plasma. And like plasma, atomic energy, nuclear energy, whatever you want to go with, radiation and whatnot. But still, like fire, I think, out of all the abilities on here, would have made the most sense. The only other one I can think that would make just as much sense as atomic. Because actually, I looked it up. The process the sun goes through is, from what I remember reading, like a constant state of nuclear fission. So I'm thinking, like, if you were to make a Superman type based off of Marvel's Superman, then I'm thinking for Sentry, you would go with Quantum, because he has abilities that allows him. Because Quantum has abilities that involves mainly affecting time and space, which Sentry himself, it said his very presence subconsciously warps time and space. And he has other powers that involves that, even though Sentry has little control of his own powers for the most part, and is just going more off of instinct. Which for him that sucks, but anyways. So if you were to make a Superman type based off of Sentry, or if you wanted to create Sentry in this game, then I think the best power for that would be Quantum. For Hyperion, I would go with Atomic. But that's just because of his power. His version of heat vision, it's just heat vision, like Superman's. But he calls it atomic vision. Not to mention the different emblems he had. Like the original heroic Hyperion 712, who had the atomic emblem. But then there's my favorite Hyperion, Marcus Milton, 13034 Hyperion, who has the hazard sign, and it's on his waist, on his belt buckle, if you can call that whole thing belt buckle. Anyways, with the black costume and all that, yeah, Marcus Milton is my favorite. And he has the hazard symbol. So that's part of why I think for Hyperion, either version, red costume, black costume, Mark Milton or Marcus Milton, you would go with Atomic. So Atomic for Hyperion, Quantum for Sentry, and I think Quantum also for Blue Marvel because of how much. Because remember, he had his power. From what I remember, Blue Marvel's power is supposed to be the scientific opposite of Sentry's. Like Sentry's is based off of light energy and positive matter, or light matter and positive energy, whereas Blue Marvel's power is supposed to be based off of negative energy and dark matter. Which I remember over the years, I've always been having this interest in learning about dark matter. This hypothesized energy that supposedly makes up the universe, as in literally anything you don't see or you can't see that's not surrounded by light is dark matter. The amount of energy or mass that theoretically makes up half of the universe, where half of it is light energy, the other, or that is light or positive energy and matter, the other half being dark matter slash energy. I gotta look into that again. So I'm thinking there's only like 2 powers that Earth has, or 3. One's with the one where you constantly like slamming into the ground with your hands over and over again. The other one where you do the same ground pound but just once. And one where you stomp the ground and it sends a bunch of rock pillars towards the enemy. So I'm thinking like combine that with a few other iconic abilities, like the dive attack from flying and a few others, and you would essentially have a power set more fitting of a traditional Kryptonian like Superman. But that's about it. That's like the only time I would go with Earth. It's just for those 3 powers, plus a few abilities from flight, along with heat vision and super breath. So again, only using Earth for something like that, like a traditional or very classic Superman type. Quantum for Sentry and Blue Marvel, Atomic for Hyperion. And obviously, like very obviously, electricity. You're making someone like Black Adam and Shazam. I don't know about Ice. Like I don't know any Superman types in any comic book company that's ever had Ice. Even when Superman got split up into Superman Blue and Superman Red, he had a lot, basically electrical based powers. And then lastly, okay, this is the last one I was gonna go. And I don't know anyone who has fire, any Superman types who have fire. Oh yeah, mental. You know, they instead of just mental, they should have called it psionic. Psionics, something like that. Anything other than just mental, because it just sounds cooler. Psionic, psychokinesis. Oh well. Now, if I remember gadgets, the only time I can remember gadgets would make sense was it was not a Superman type, but it was an actual Supergirl, not Kara herself, but some woman who was literally from the future. I don't think it was like Legion of Superheroes and that far into the future, but close to it. But anyways, she didn't have any Kryptonian abilities. Instead, she used a bunch of technology
fashioned a costume together that would allow her to copy the abilities or simulate the abilities of a Kryptonian, which was kind of cool. But anyways, I think mental would work best for. Well, you could also technically use mental for Sentry because he does have telekinesis and he has other psionic abilities. It's just that I think psionics is one of the least explored abilities no, there is a whole bunch of powers Sentry has that is rarely explored. It's just the whole thing about his ability to consciously and subconsciously warp reality and manipulate molecules. It's literally those two things that all of Sentry's powers stem from. Rather, it's a subconscious ability that happens on its own without him making it happen, like his ability to heal, as well as others that he uses offensively, like energy manipulation. It all comes from his ability to manipulate molecules like Molecule Man, as well as warp reality. But I'm thinking something like mental, the psionic abilities. You can kind of use something like that if you want to simulate Sentry psionic abilities, or create a character kind of like Gladiator. That's what I'm thinking of. Because Strontians don't have telekinesis or telepathy, but they do have some type of psionic ability that allows them to lift massive objects without said object crumbling under its weight just from the pressure alone. Because Gladiator did that once, or at least there was one example I can think of. It's the most famous example where Gladiator came to Earth and he attacked the Fantastic Four. Because remember, I think he confused the Fantastic Four for Skrulls in disguise. So he fights them. He's easily overpowering them, and at one point he lifts up the entire Baxter building. And Mr. Fantastic was the one who said that he must have some kind of psionic ability, psionic in nature or some other way, because it should be theoretically impossible for him to be able to lift up an entire building like that without the said building crumbling under its weight. As in, it's not that he doesn't have the strength to lift up the amount of weight the Baxter building composed of. So it's not that. It's just that the building itself shouldn't be capable of handling that much pressure and not crumble on under its own weight. Meaning that somehow Gladiator was enacting some kind of psionic field around himself and the building to be able to lift it all at once. Again, without the building falling apart or anything inside the building, just everything inside the building just coming undone. It's also said that that's how Superman is able to lift and move around massive objects without them crumbling under their weight. And same thing with Sentry. So basically, characters like Sentry for Sentry, he is specifically using his telekinesis to hold items together while using his brute strength to lift it up or hold it up. Whereas for Kryptonians, not just Clark, but Kryptonians in general, it's a psionic ability to control their own bioelectric aura, where they're able to extend their bioelectric aura and use, tactile telekinesis in order to lift up massive, extremely heavy objects without said object crumbling under its weight. Which I'm going to assume that for Strontians, especially extremely the most powerful of them, Gladiator, I'm assuming it's the same thing, where that so-called psionic ability that Mr. Fantastic brought up was indeed Gladiator manipulating his bioelectric aura to use tactile telekinesis in order to lift the Baxter building up off the ground without it breaking apart. That, or it's some other separate psionic ability. Because that was also how, when he went inside the building and was confronted by the rest of the team, Sue Storm, Invisible Woman, she managed to wrap him up inside one of her force fields, but he was constantly punching away at it to the point where where Invisible Woman couldn't hold it anymore, saying that he was it. It was the narrator, not Mr. Fantastic, but the narrator who was saying that indeed it was some psionic feedback that Gladiator was some psionic ability of his own that Gladiator was using to send a psychic feedback that was causing a lot of pain and pressure to Invisible Woman, to where eventually she passed out. All because all she did was create a psychic bubble, or yeah, a force field around Gladiator, and Gladiator was just constantly punching away at it. So kind of cool where you have characters where they have a bit more than just the basic Superman type powers. Because to have your basic Superman type, you give them strength, durability, stamina, and endurance, flight, and heat vision, with varying levels of super speed. So super speed, strength, flight, and energy projection. And for the most straight middle of the road Superman type, you would have someone like Hyperion and Sun God from Marvel, where they have heat vision and all that other stuff. Or you could have someone like a Gladiator who has all of those plus some type of psionic ability, which again they never really go into full detail over. Something like that as well. Whereas characters like Blue Marvel and Sentry, those are the type of characters where if you want to go like really go off the rails and give them an insane power set. Although there is also Martian Manhunter. Martian Manhunter has far more abilities than Superman thanks to all of his psionic powers and his shape-shifting abilities. But technically Sentry, again, due to his ability to warp see time and space, all of that, and control molecules, he could technically do everything even Martian Manhunter can do, because he already has psychic abilities as well. Psychic, psionic, whatever. And that the reason why the Void tends to change the way he looks so drastically is basic shape-shifting that Robert Reynolds is using to reflect how he feels like a monster, a true demon, when he becomes the Void. Like those black tendrils that form on Sentry's back, that's just basic shapeshifting. Hold on a second, there is a spider on my wall. Oh, that's all the spiders in it. Going on my wall like it owns the place. Yeah, hold on a second. You know, I wish I could find. I wish I knew. I could know where to go. I wish I. I wish I knew where to go to find more videos on YouTube for how to make certain iconic characters from scratch. Because I have been trying to make characters based off of other people, but without actually just trying to create yet another iconic. And one thing that sucks is that because there's certain items you only get as a male character that you don't get as a female character, you can have all of the same costumes that both male and female characters share, but the instant you switch between the genders, it immediately, basically everything you work on just goes away. If I remember, the original display for when you made your characters didn't do that. No, it doesn't kind of. It very much annoys me just how radically different certain slimlines look when you get them for the female or male characters. Like, you get pyramid slimline, reverse slimline, and basic slimline. Basic slimline is just basically. Anyway, slimline is just basically Harley Quinn's costume. Well, with the way the designs are, the patches, and all that, it's just Harley Quinn's costume. Like, see? Just Harley Quinn's costume. Now it kind of looks a little bit more like Power Rangers. So I think if you want to make not Hyperion, the closest I've seen people get for making Gladiator is Pyramid Slimline. Go with Kevron. Now, if I remember, there are hand pieces that covers a significant portion of the arms, but you have to unlock those later. Okay, this is weird. The thigh highs. First of all, I don't like how shiny the thigh highs look. Second, thigh high heels on the male character does not look right on to me at all. Go with that tall trim. Now, I know with the Gladiator, his costume has a collar to it. Oh, that's weird. Man, would it make sense if it was like the mohawk was like that, but to the length of the metal head? I'm trying to remember for Gladiator's costume. It's like a triangle, but obviously we don't have that. So I think Circled wings would be the best one to go with. You know, I keep forgetting. Gladiator did actually appear. Hey, maybe a shield and royal wings could work. That's all I was trying to. Anyways, I keep thinking Hyperion. Hyperion is is an Avengers, more an Avengers associated character. Gladiator is the Superman type associated with the X-Men. Anyways, I keep forgetting how Gladiator, not just in the original X-Men cartoon, but in the continuation X-Men '97, he appeared there as well. And it was awesome seeing him whooping ass like that. Now the colors are almost one to one, exactly like what Gladiator. Why do I keep wanting to say Hyperion? I guess because out of all the different Marvel Superman, Hyperion is my favorite, with Gladiator a very close second. I want to say I do like Sun God, but he only appears very briefly. He eventually ends up getting killed off. So he's like the Marvel Superman who died before he got his chance. He actually even got his chance to make any sort of impact. Basically, the whole storyline with Sun God and the Great Society was how they were essentially yet another version of Marvel's Justice League, like the Squadron Supreme. Only they ended up being killed by the Avengers during what was a series of incursions. And it was almost like ironic justice. I think that's the word for it. How the Avengers end up killing off an entire team of one version of Marvel's Justice League, only for yet another Marvel's Justice League, the Squadron Supreme, to come along and not all the Avengers, but the other Marvel Superman, Hyperion, ends up, excuse me, ends up killing Kalak Shiar. What if I put the Strontian? But anyways, one Marvel Justice League and their Superman, the Great Society, ends up getting killed off with Dr. Spectrum, who a female Dr. Spectrum this time, ends up surviving the event and she ends up joining yet another Marvel's Justice League, the Squadron Supreme, with their Superman, Hyperion, Marcus Milton, 13034, black costume. Okay, I think I said enough. Ends up killing, who was it? Namor. He killed Namor by using his atomic vision and killing Namor in just one shot. Picture. Okay, so his cape is red with a bit of a yellow outline. So yeah, that's part of why it's impossible to recreate his. Yeah, if you basically try making him from scratch, it's like the most I could say is just good luck with that. Because the way his costume is designed, yeah, you're just not gonna get that. At least not from scratch. And even then, there's only certain costume pieces you could add as far as trying to recreate the look. Which I get it, this is a DC game and Gladiator is a Marvel character. So of course you're not going to be able to perfectly recreate Gladiator. Fire Rumble. Serious Red looking goofy like that? Are you kidding me? So yeah, this is the best I can do. Which is not a bad look. It's really not a bad look. It's just that for the abilities that I would use for someone like Gladiator, you don't get them right away. You'd have to work your way up to get them. Those being specifically pyrokinesis. So mainly pyrokinesis, because Strontians have heat vision. But again, there's some of their abilities being psionic in nature, or based on their mental state. Hey, what the heck? I didn't mean to do all that. Like their mental state, specifically their confidence, where the more confident they are, the more powerful, the less confident, least powerful. So their powers are psionic and somewhat psychokinetic to some extent. So you can probably add in chirokinesis as well. And then others like psychic shock, which is literally just electrokinesis. And then reflect pain. You could just say that it's your character using some type of psychic feedback to reflect damage off of them to their enemies. Or just say it's bulletproof skin. many people would recognize the name of Strontian? Because I'm thinking a power like that, between the various types of characters that have power levels comparable to Kryptonians, Strontians, Martians, and whatnot, I would much rather a power that is specifically like a power that I have on my own that doesn't rely on energy sources.
The final campaign
Like Hyperion,
was war against
let's see, Hyperion, I think Blue Marvel,
power.
and Sentry, hardly, they draw energy from other sources, specifically the sun, just like Kryptonians. Whereas with Martians and Strontians, their powers is the level of strength they have all on their own as well, but there is no like external source of energy that they rely on. It's all purely internal. They don't need some outside energy source like the sun or anything else to empower them. I want to say kind of like Shazam and Black Adam. Yeah, their power, well, no, it's both internal and external. External, and that they are given power from 6 different deities. So not quite the same, because it's like there's the 6 deities that give them their powers, so external. But that's like once they transform and they have access to that power, they can use about as much as they want. I don't think it's possible for them to run out of that power. So their power is simultaneously internal and external. Man, I got the theme song for Poppy Playtime constantly playing in my head for some weird reason. Oh yeah, now I remember another reason why I don't like how Pyramid Slimline on the female body doesn't look right. Because of just how much the color varies. Let's see, Pyramid Slimline and Pyramid Slimline. Yeah, it just does not look right. Let's see, I got like 30 characters whose power is mental. I don't want to keep making more. So I think I'm gonna stick to just that one. Or not stick to that one. I don't want to. For now, I don't want to really go to the trouble making yet another one. But I don't know any Superman type whose powers involves creating constructs. Like, yeah, there's been times where members of the Superman family and Kryptonians in general. So Supergirl, like the time she became a Red Lantern. Superboy Prime when he became a member of the Yellow Lanterns. And even then, they still relied mainly on their own powers. They didn't actually rely on their lantern rings all that much, if at all. Hey, didn't Superman become part of the Yellow Lantern Corps in the Injustice storyline? Let's see, make them a villain. let's see, martial arts, cause do I want the martial arts? You know, I'm just gonna leave. Cause I made a character inspired to an extent by Red Tornado, but I named her Red Cinder because her elemental power is pyrokinesis. But then that's when I remember I looked it up, and there was the time, at least before the new 52, where T.O. Morrow made other red machines. Aside from Red Tornado, he also made Red Volcano, Red Inferno, and Red Torpedo. Red Torpedo being the quote-unquote female of the family, the sister, and her power was water. Red Inferno, his power was based off fire. And then Red Volcano, whose power was based off of magma control. Wait, what do you call that? So hydrokinesis, aerokinesis,
Yes, you're right.
pyrokinesis. So what would Red Volcano be?
5, 4,
Magmakinesis? Magmokinesis?
1, go.
Anyways, basically Red Volcano's powers work like magma from the X-Men, being able to control well, actually the powers based around volcanoes is very diverse and well-rounded. It's one of those powers where if you're given just powers based off a volcano in general, there's actually quite a lot of powers you get from that. Like, you also get abilities like geokinesis, because part of what triggers a volcano is what was it? I was about to say geothermic activity. I was about to say, what was exactly the exact term? Because earthquakes can cause a volcano to erupt. So, anyways, you can with volcano-based abilities, you can have geokinesis, pyrokinesis to some extent, and I don't know about plasma. Because if I remember, there was who was it? It was a woman who got her powers from Dr. Doom alongside Titania. I can't remember her exact name, but initially her powers involved the power to control plasma energy blast. And if I remember, I think like her strength and durability with her plasma form also increased to an extent where she could at least lift, like, what was it, 1 ton? I think it was, or close to 1 ton. But then she later gained other abilities thanks to a bit of Molecule Man imprinting some of his powers onto her. So she basically got like a secondary mutation where she could take on a form resembling smoke or an ash-based form, allowing her to fly and essentially become, what was that, like a gas-based form? Basically a form that can't be interacted with physically like you would a actual solid object. And then a rock-based form that's meant to be one form that turns her body into ash that allows her to fly, sulfuric ash. Another one that turns her body into molten rock that makes her heavier and stronger, much more durable. Stronger, more durable. And then there's her original form, her plasmic form, which gave her ranged attacks in the form of Plasma Blast. Now, if I can remember, so as soon as I remember her name, but anyways, she's the one who I'm thinking of. She got her powers alongside Titania. Still can't remember her name. Kind of interesting that between the two, like Titania got the much more basic and limited power augmentation, where she just simply became taller, bulkier, and she ended up having super strength, durability, stamina, and endurance, with increased speed and reaction time. Whereas the other woman, who was actually her friend, got a much more diverse power set. Straight up elemental abilities. One of which is a form she could turn into that also gives her super strength, durability, and... Now I think just super strength and durability. I don't know about endurance and stamina. It's just that it does her molten rock form doesn't increase her durability anywhere near to the same extent as Titania's strength and durability. So let me see, tight. Here we go. Oh, it says here Titania is only 6'6". Wait a minute, so she's supposed to be only 6'6", whereas She-Hulk is 6'7", at least in her base state, and yet She-Hulk has always been shown as being at least a foot taller. So if anything, She-Hulk should be more around 7 foot, 7'2", 7'6", being half a foot, if not a full foot taller than Titania. Anyways. Whew. Some good cool water. Here we go. No, not Vanessa Ashwood. That's someone else. Here we go. Marsha Rosenberg. Volcana. That's her name. I wish Volcana got used more. She's cool. Because unlike Titania, Volcana actually didn't really ever want to be a villain. It was more so out of obligation. Like once she got her powers from Dr. Doom, she worked alongside Titania and the other villains out of obligation. Like, okay, excuse me. Okay, Dr. Doom gave me these powers. I at least owe it to him to use my powers to fight for him, I guess. Okay, I gotta get rid of these axes and get an actual weapon that I can use. When did I do that? Oh, what was that? Oh, I forgot I completed that. And I completed that. So I'm gonna go up to Fusionaut and get some stuff from him. So anyways, back to Volcana. So, let's see. So, with all of her forms, basically everything is about average. She is average in strength, speed, durability, fighting skills, and intelligence. But with her volcanic stone form, her durability goes up to 6 and her strength goes up to 4. So let's see. The Marvel Power Grid, 1 is below average, 2 is average, 3 is above average, 4 is very significant, and 5 onwards is when you definitely know someone's very strong. So her magma stone, what was it? Her molten rock form or volcanic stone form, as it says, calls it here. Increases her strength from 2 to 4, where her durability goes up from 2 to 6. So let's see, Volcana. Transformation. Volcana has the ability to transform her body into 3 separate volcanic forms: Plasma, Stone, and Ash. Plasma. Her body in this form is surrounded by a corona of superheated plasma, which melts or combusts most projectiles that touch it. Energy projection. In this form, Volcana can project bursts with a temperature of over 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit and up to 40 feet range. Stone. This form grants Volcana super strength and high resistance to injury. Superhuman durability. Volcana's stone form grants her vast resistance to damage, superhuman strength, while in her stone form, Volcana can lift 4 tons. Ash. Volcana can control her shape at will when in this form. Now, if I remember, her Ash form goes up to in her Ash form, it says this, it can control her shape at will, but I don't remember ever seeing her do anything like crazy with it. I think the most she's ever done with it is just to fly.
If it's the portal,
But theoretically, she can control her shape into anything she desires.
Here, I have quite the collection.
Damn, I need to go to a warehouse and get a weapon. You know what's funny? I remember back to a time when I first played this game and I didn't understand the game the way it worked at first. So it was quite a struggle for me getting the things that I wanted because of how much priced or kind of weird name is that. Anyways, thinking to myself, I'm like, why is it such a grind just to get everything? Why is it gotta be so obnoxious? It's annoying. But of course, over time, as I got better at this game, that was long before any of the more insane updates started coming in. Where the more I played, the more I understood getting the amount of source marks necessary to get the moves that the abilities that I wanted. Oh, never mind. I got a more important thing to do right now. You see, I like people who are able to make the perfect Marvel Superman costume, specifically Hyperion, because again, out of the Marvel Superman, design-wise, he is my favorite. Marcus Milton, the black costume Hyperion. One, that is my favorite of all the Hyperion who appeared over the years. Two, he is my favorite of the Marvel Superman. Because unlike all the others, Blue Marvel, Sentry, Gladiator, Icarus, if you want to count him, he is the only recurring one, besides Sun God, who only was recurring for a few months, who actually, he really does a good job of portraying how Superman would likely work if he existed in Marvel Comics. Because all the others are a bit more, I want to say a bit more specific, where they only share certain qualities like Superman. But Sentry is the perfect like Superman type 1-to-1. The main difference being name and the name and the costume. Let's see. That looks like Nabu's Chosen, and Nabu's Chosen, the cape, Magic's Champion shoulders, and I'm pretty sure that those are Malika Andra Hunter. Let's see. A, B, C, D, F, G, J, J, K. The shirt, pants, and waist. I remember I did use Marcus Milton's costume as inspiration before when making a costume. Not like 1-to-1 like his, but I did use it as a bit of inspiration, and I made something unique for Nor. Unique for Nor. Anyways, a long while ago, I don't really use it that often. I think like once I get Nabu's Chosen, I can recreate it for, not for Nor, but for Centurion. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, I was mentioning earlier about how exactly Hyperion truly works as a Marvel Superman, being a superhero who comes from another planet, a planet that was apparently doomed, ended up being destroyed. So Hyperion eventually ends up on Earth, raised by... Now, so there's like different versions of Hyperion, all from alternate realities. So one Hyperion who comes from another, then they're all Eternals. Eternals who come from another planet. It's the last of his kind from a planet that was eventually destroyed. And once landing on Earth, the more long-running and traditional Hyperions, it's like Superman being raised by either the original 712 Hyperion, if I remember, he was raised by a man and a woman, whereas 13034 Hyperion, the more recent one, who isn't a construct, like a few others that came afterwards. Anyways, 13034 Black Costume, he was raised by a single man who he just refers to as father. Let's see, Son of Man, Pants New Genesis. New Genesis? I never would have guessed. Now, where the heck would I get Son of Manta? Now, I know there is the short sleeve semi I could use, but I actually do like the way Son of Manta kind of looks. Wait, bronze? Dark Shimmer and Glorious. Oh, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Teacher, that's the problem. Oh, was I singing for a moment? Weird. So anyways, so Hyperion is basically Marvel's, like plenty of other people have agreed as well. Like people talk about Sentry being referred to as Marvel's Superman, along with Blue Marvel and Gladiator. But plenty of other people like me agree. Dang, Moth, trying to get inside my house. Plenty of people agree. A majority of people agree that it's really Hyperion. Again, origins, powers, power source, fighting style, all of that. It's just that the main thing is how more aggressive and authoritarian Hyperion is. Which makes sense because if Superman tried doing the way, if Superman did things the way he did in Marvel, like how he does in DC, if he tried to pull that same mindset and attitude in Marvel, he would definitely end up clashing with a lot more people. Kind of like Hyperion clashes with a lot of people, even though unlike Superman, he's much more authoritarian. Huh, I wonder why he switched to long sleeve. I like this one because the sleeves are even shorter. Because that's basically like Hyperion's costume. Where it's not exactly sleeveless. So it's somewhere in between being short sleeve and straight up sleeveless. Yeah, like that, like barely coming down to his biceps, but still covering his shoulders. Let me see. Marcus Melton. So, yeah, Gorgon Slayer is probably like the best if you want to have a belt similar to the 13037. I mean 13034 Marcus. Considering how big it is, I hope eventually that Hyperion comes back. I hope they don't decide to do yet another Hyperion. Because that I've grown to like that Hyperion. So I definitely don't want them making yet another. I definitely don't want them making yet another Hyperion in the future. Now let's see. DC equivalent of Superman. They just put Ultraman from the comics. Alright, so DCUO, Son of. Here we go, Son of Manta. is a costume. Oh, come on. Is a costume style set and iconic battle superheroes and villains, consisting of 8 pieces. Gear set inspired by the vestments of Aqualad. This set has item levels 10, 212. What the heck? It can be obtained from the supplier Sybil in the headquarters or in Atlantis. Oh, really? Now, what do you say the pants were? The pants were New Genesis. Shirt, Son of Manta. Pants, New Genesis. Now, I do know there's other pants I can get that's from... we'll see. I can get other pants elsewhere. Let me look. Wait, is supplier Sybil in here? Let me see. Let me see. Here we go. Known by the name of Sybil. Okay, let me just go straight to Atlantis then. Huh, you can't really tell that it's New Genesis from afar. You would have to look closely. Whoa, was that Atrocitus? It was. You bald-headed freak. No lips having freak. I think that's only Atrocitus' design in here, in this game. Hey, that doesn't look too bad. So none of this says... The heck? That's all specific, 390? Just for that? Wait, have I not done any Atlantis missions yet? And that's why, even though I am here, they won't... I can't, like, do no missions or something? Hey, I finally got my Marcus Milton costume. Yeah, the only sad part now is the fact that he still has yellow trunks. Maybe that's what part of what New Genesis pants would be for. Because I think when most people look at Marcus Milton's costume, the only thing they really notice is the belt, not really the trunks that lie right under it. Man, it sucks how, because if I equip the material, it's gonna affect the whole pants, not just the belt alone. Bunny Lord, what the hell? Yeah, whatever. Dang, I can't just have those 4 dots on the front change color without the whole thing changing color. Yeah, looks like leftovers of the Venom suit. But I do remember someone mention. I've seen people mention before how weird it is that there's so many costume pieces that look blatantly like they belong to a character straight out of Marvel. Which I can kind of see some of the confusion, like the Elemental Android costume, or yeah, I guess like maybe in some ways you can make the comparisons between that and Iron Man, especially the helmet. Even though it's obviously based off of, oh my goodness, it's obviously based off of Red Tornado. Man, so many that are either short sleeve or no sleeve at all. Sucks that you can't just automatically. I hate when they do that. Why does it have to be a specific color, where the only way to change the color is through material? I would have preferred if I could change the color naturally instead of having just blue and red. Like, yeah, it's obviously based off of Superman Red and Superman Blue from the comics. It still would have been much better to have just one of those, and you can change the color to whatever you want it. Instead of just being restricted to blue and white and red and white. Miraculous. Very cool. Well, I can say at least I found the materials that work well for recreating Hyperion. For the most part. I hate how they only... How for Quantum Dilasteel, it's cool that they gave us a top based off of Major Force. It just sucks that they didn't give us no bottom piece to go with it. Which, like, yeah, it's not like for him any bottom piece he had of his costume was anything crazy, but it still would have worked a whole lot better. A whole lot better than just nothing. What was that? But, oh well. It's just one of those things where you want something a certain way, but it's obvious the game's not gonna ever give it to you. Now, I've seen some people just use a basic t-shirt when making Hyperion's costume. You know, I think like the perfect way you could recreate someone like Hyperion, or Marcus Milton Hyperion. Well, actually no, because I think... And see, this is another one. It would have been perfect if you could at least change the emblem. Like, if I could change the emblem on the front, that would have worked better. Hey, what does the Son of Manta pants look like? Hopefully nothing ridiculous. Hey, not bad. Oh, never mind. I did all that searching for nothing. I definitely want to buy more material from the Defenders. Do you have any material? Nope. What kind of material you got? Well, Superman and Multiverse are logged in. Superman with two hands. So the moonstone, I like the way it looks. Not bad. But the question is, do I want to buy right now? Because that would leave me with only 87 source marks. I want to say Golden Age looks cool, but I don't know if I want it. I'll take it. Have I done all my omnibuses? Hey, I'm alright right now. Thank you, though. Yeah, you're welcome, son of a gun. No, I'm just kidding. I ain't tripping. Now, there is the Mr. Miracle cape that I want to get, but it's part of a very specific set. And in order to get that set, I would have to go to... Hey, the street light right outside my house is on. Which is funny because it rarely comes on. There was like a blackout that... I think it was 2023? It was somewhere between 2023 to early 2024. Somewhere in that time frame where there was where the weather there in the winter got very bad. Power went out. Eventually it comes back on. And it's been very inconsistent for that light pole right outside my house. Like, it rarely ever comes on now. I like how almost every time I type in the letter A, the word asshole comes up. That's because I keep quoting Big Smoke from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, where literally during the what was it? I think the name of the mission was just Drive By, where the ballers try to pull a drive by on CJ and the others, and Big Smoke's just eating the whole time, and they're all like, "Big Smoke, why aren't you shooting, man?" And he's all like, "I'll shoot when I'm done eating. I'm just trying to enjoy my meal." And everyone else is telling him to shoot already, and he refused to. And at one point, he shouts out, "Hey, kill that asshole!" Oh man, this is some good stuff. Now I want to get the Miracle Cape, Mr. Miracle's cape, for Nor, specifically because for Nor, I want to create the perfect Martian Manhunter classic costume for him. Not one-to-one to look exactly like Martian Manhunter, because usually Martian Manhunter's costume, there's the way it looks, but he doesn't wear no gloves. I usually give Nor gloves. And instead of like blue or purple, like like Martian Manhunter's classic costume, for Nor I make it black and red. Weird, there's like this ringing in my right ear for some reason. But you know, I remember how long ago this was why I wanted to get Mental. I saw someone else using this and all the different projectiles that came with it. Seeing the ice, electric, and heat vision, and it was awesome. And so I was like, that would be perfect if I wanted to make a Superman type. So I was looking through all the different powers in the game, and I never used Mental, because anytime I created a new hero, Mental, on the hero screen, it did not look cool. And I'm thinking, why would I want my powers based off of that, based on some psychic powers and whatnot? That always seemed foreign to me. Until I saw someone else using it, specifically someone using it for their Cyclops character. Because originally I was switching between when I first made Nor, originally named Ajax. Anyways, when I first made him, I remember I made Nor as a sort of like what was I thinking of? Anyways, I'll switch it between Quantum, Atomic, and So mostly between quantum and atomic. And then I think, if I remember, I did a mission where I was playing as Nor, and it was a duo, and it was either Nor or someone else, and whichever character, it was a mission on, what was it? It was the satellite, which, not Starlab satellite, I think it was the Watchtower. No, it wasn't the Watchtower, it was Starlab's satellite. I was a teenage werewolf.
This gear should bring you up to speed.
So I went and did that mission, and as I did it, this other guy had their own character. It was literally the iconic Cyclops. So you got the original character me, and the iconic, that being Cyclops. And the way they were using Mento's abilities to recreate Cyclops' optic blast, only instead of concussive beams, it was ice, electric, and heat. Yes. And what else? Oh, and they were also using heat vision. Don't know what they used as for a shield and anything else. I don't know what else they used. Huh, weird. So then I was like, oh, that looks perfect. So then I switched to Mental. And then after a while of playing, I decided, hey, what if I just made my character a... What if I just made a character... What if I just made Nor into a Martian? Like, obviously not the John Jones, but just a Martian in general. Hey, Space Ghost. Now, if I remember, I think I saw someone describe Space Ghost as a Superman type, which is like, I understand he has flight, energy projection, and a cape. But that's really about it. And if I remember, all of it comes from his costume. I don't remember if Superman. I don't remember if Space Ghost ever had super strength and durability. And if I remember, all of his powers comes from the costume itself. I don't remember it ever being from like any power that he had of his own. Okay, so what's with the preview tab if I don't get to actually preview it to see what it looks like? What kind of nonsense is that? And unfortunately, I don't think there's any material pieces I can get from... Yeah, I forget what the name of the blue stuff is, that currency. But yeah, can't get nothing down here anyways. All these basic ass lame t-shirts. You know, I can't say they've been doing a lot of magic-based stuff recently because so far it's just been this episode, and I think it's only going to be this chapter. I think next chapter is just going to be science fiction-based, dealing with the lanterns. And honestly, I hate the direction the story's going in. Them using original characters, I don't mind. I don't hate it. I just hate how because that girl from AU, I agree with her about how ridiculous it is how they're putting all this information on the internet instead of in the game for people to look up to get an idea of where the story is going next. I'd rather be able to just go into the game and read it there, or find out about it there as I'm playing through it. But that's not how they're doing it. Let's see, I think I'm gonna do like at least 1 or 2 duels. Try to finish up by... Nah, I hate that one. My goodness, man. You know, a part of me wants to play some Street Fighter 6 and get it onto World Tour mode, but I think I want to wait until when finally... I want to wait until when Elena comes out, but that's not until next month when... I don't know if I want to wait until next month before hopping back on to World Tour mode. Wait until next month to get her style as I'm playing through the game. But that depends, because if they put Elena's DLC, if like getting her style, you have to play through the whole story first. If it's gonna be like that, like with Akuma and then Bison, then it's not gonna make much of a difference for me either way. Then, if I win or not. Plus, I think once Elena releases, because if I remember, usually when they release a character, originally it was supposed to be like every 3 or 4 months before we finally get more news on the next DLC character. But they delayed, they threw the whole thing out of whack for how Season 2 was supposed to go, because we're in Season 2 right now. If I remember, yeah. There was the first wave, which was Rashid, Akuma, Ed, and who the hell was the other one? Aki. But like I said, let's see, that one was more straightforward. They followed that one through. We didn't have to wait as long. But season 2, it's like they screwed that up, and that's why for each DLC character it took so long in between for each one to come out. And Bison, then Terry, and originally it was supposed to be Elena, then Mai. But it's like after Terry had released, they had us waiting a very unnecessary amount of time, like longer than they should have kept us waiting, before finally Elena... No, not even Elena. Instead, they released Mai as the 3rd DLC character. Because originally, Elena was supposed to come out in spring. We were supposed to get her in spring, but instead, we're going to get her next month. Although, it's not like right when June comes, but June, I think it was June 20th, around the middle of June is when summer starts. So instead, it's right before summer starts that we get her, which technically is still spring. Still, it's messed up how they're making us wait, because just because they want to release her along with the Switch, it's like, I'm like, Capcom, you are some dumbasses for that. Making console players wait just so people playing, or people who want to get, I did not want that. People who get it for the Nintendo Switch 2 will get Elena same day as everyone else. Like, screw you guys for that. I would have preferred, like, why couldn't we Xbox and PlayStation players get it? Then those who plan on getting Switch 2 or who have it, they themselves can get it late would get it later, once the Switch releases. Okay, what the hell is this person doing?
This device.
But unfortunately, no amount of complaining is gonna change that.
I will destroy.
So yeah, that's part of what went down with that. They switched up the order, making us wait much longer for Mai to finally release. And we're just not. Earlier, we got her teaser trailer showing what an interaction between her and our avatar in World Tour mode would look like. Then we finally got a gameplay trailer. See, I hate this part. Or I don't hate it, but it's annoying how Atrocitus is constantly chasing after us the whole entire time. Oh, come on. And yet there's nothing we can do to slow him down. Even it would be cool if maybe, since the repulsor isn't fully charged, yeah, we still can't hurt Atrocitus yet. But at the very least, the one who's carrying the repulsor is getting it charged between the different stations, while the other one not carrying the repulsor is able to distract him, along with the other Red Lanterns. That would have been a better way, at least in my opinion. So anyways, all this stuff with wanting to release Elena along with the release of the Nintendo Switch 2, that's why Capcom changed. That's part of the reason why Capcom changed up the order of the DLC being released, and why we have to wait longer. Because again, she was supposed to be spring. Mine was actually supposed to be like fall or winter of this year, which was crazy because the second wave of DLC, Bison, Terry, Elena, and Mai were announced last year in 2024. And if I remember, that was like in what was it? Was it the beginning of 2024 that it was announced? Around there, around the first half of 2024. And that now we're gonna finally get Elena right before summer begins in 2025. Like, can you imagine how ridiculous that sounds? You announce all your DLC characters for only four. Your 4 characters for whatever wave, first, second, third, fifth, fourth. I said that in random order. Anyways, whatever wave of DLC, you're only releasing 4 characters. And you announce it at the beginning of one year, planning to release them along until the end of next year. Which I can see that making sense if it was like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 characters, maybe even 8, but you're only giving us 4 characters. Why is it that we gotta wait a full year for DLC characters? Like, what sense does that make for 4 characters, and you expect us to wait a whole year? Like it's not even just Capcom, but any company that does that for a fighting game, and you're only giving us 4 characters, and you plan on making much more as time goes on. Because there's already been leaks and rumors about what the 3rd wave is going to be. Some people speculating or leaking that the 3rd wave is going to be Alex, Sagat, C. Viper, and Ingrid. And honestly, I do not care for Ingrid at all. I'm not saying she shouldn't be in it. I'm just saying I don't care about it. So if the leaks are true, then yeah, already that's a disappointment for me. C. Viper, she's like that kind of character where I don't play her too much, but whenever I do play her, she's usually fun. Street Fighter 4, Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Yeah, she's a pretty cool, decent character. I have no problem with her. So like, those are 2 characters where one I don't play as and don't care for at all and would rather have someone else. The other, I don't mind her too much. I would rather have someone else, but not too bad that she's getting in. So but the other 2 are supposed to be Sagat and Alex, which I really hope that is true. Because Alex is one of my favorite characters, and he's my favorite grappler in Street Fighter. Sagat, there's only two Muay Thai fighters, and I like Sagat as a character more, but I do like Adon's style. I just don't like the whole balancing on one foot thing. That's the only thing about Adon's style I don't like, is him always balancing on one foot. Like, keep the move set, the design, the personality, everything, but it's like, man, put your other foot down on the ground. But that's just another one of those things where I could just say, oh well, it's not the worst thing ever. But, what else was I thinking? But I hope that they do a much better job with season 3 of the DLC. Like, no more guest characters. Just give us all Street Fighter characters, and worry about guest characters towards the end or at the very end. If they add more guest characters going forward. Like, if they do add more guest characters, it should be one guest character per whatever season they put that guest character in, not two. Like, the majority of DLC characters we should get from now on should be exclusively Street Fighter. Then maybe pulling characters from other game series that are not part of the Capcom, or not part of the Street Fighter universe. Because for Street Fighter, let's see, there's Street Fighter, Rival Schools, Final Fight, Slam Masters, and so it's mainly those four. Yeah, those four exist within the same universe, with some people speculating that Strider may be part of it, taking place in the far future, because of the moves and the costume that I can't remember. Guy's Master, it's supposed to be that his costume is not just based off of Strider, but that storyline wise, he's the one who goes on to create the Strider organization. Either he creates the Strider organization using Bushunryu as the foundation, or he doesn't create it, but rather it's maybe like he has another student who was inspired by him, who goes on to create the Strider organization. Anyways, so possibly maybe Strider's part of the Street Fighter universe. But anyways, I'm kind of getting offhand. The point I'm trying to make is guest characters from other games, other companies. If you're gonna add more of them, it should only just be one in a season. And stop giving us just 4. Give us like 5 or 6 in a season. And don't make us have to wait so long. I'm thinking it's like, release a new character, then after 2 or 2.5 months, then give us the next character. There really shouldn't be no delays unless there's something internally going on at Capcom that would justify a character's delay in being released. Because then otherwise, you might, well, I wouldn't say you'll lose people quitting Street Fighter overall as a result, but just growing bored and not being as supportive. But then again, as gamers, we do need to learn to be more patient, because it is video games and there's other games we can play in the meantime. So I'm mainly just hoping that leak about Alex and Sagat at least is true. Have my favorite grappler, so I can have his Power Bomb, Hyper Bomb, Spiral DDT, if all those come back. Well, obviously he's got to have Hyper Bomb and Power Bomb. That's always been his main. Power Bomb and the backdrop have always been his main. That's always been his main command grab. And Flash Chop. So I think for his main command grab, Power Bomb, yeah, I don't see why they would take that away. Especially with, and I think they're gonna keep it where he'll keep his Flash Chop, and I think they'll mostly have his Flash Chop as a way for him to fight projectiles, and So he'll have that move that causes the opponent to turn around so that he can have his backdrop as well. So power bomb and backdrop are, if Alex does get, is then part of the next DLC wave. That's definitely guaranteed. As for hyper bomb, depends on how they do it. Either they'll make hyper bomb his overdrive like how they made it his EX in Street Fighter 5, where he just grabs the opponent and just flips over there before slamming him into the ground. Or they'll make it his super again, like the Street Fighter 3 series and Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, where it was his level 3, where it's grab the opponent while they're facing you, turn them around, go for 2 backdrops into a power bomb, or grab them while their back is to you and go for a series of backdrops. So hopefully something like that. And Sagat, obviously have Sagat, because Muay Thai is one of my favorite martial arts and one of the main styles I practice. So definitely gotta have that main Muay Thai man. Because Adon's cool as a Muay Thai fighter. I just don't like him standing on one leg. So hopefully Adon gets to come back too as well. Have that acrobatic Muay Thai style. But again, Sagat is obviously the OG Muay Thai man. I remember it was ridiculous how someone tried to argue that kickboxing is Muay Thai. Therefore, the fact that we have Marisa and DJ, especially DJ, since his style is officially kickboxing, that we already basically have it, which is like, no, it isn't. He tried to argue saying that kickboxing is Muay Thai, but me and a few other people actually went into detail explaining what kickboxing really is. So hopefully, I'm really hoping that that person who supposedly leaked that information of Alex, Sagat, C Viper, and Ingrid. Again, I don't care for Ingrid. C Viper, she's kind of cool, but she's more meh. I would rather have someone else, but she's not too bad. Alex and Sagat, if that's true, then I'm hyped for them. Not just to get them as their style. Like, I would definitely like to get their styles and moves in a world tour mode, especially, but also getting them as characters to play. But you know, I'm mostly just rambling at this point. I don't think I really have much to say. Let me see what time is it. It's 9:28, so I want to get out while there's still people out and about. Because I definitely don't want to have to waste my time dealing with no crazy people. Alright, so what the heck? Green Ranger Tommy Oliver. So I'm gonna head out, get on out, get going, get some fresh air. I don't think I'm gonna do a no, because by the time I get back, my sister's gonna be in bed because she's gotta go to bed for school. And I don't know if my grandma and my mom will still be up, but I don't want to bother them. And I don't want to have to go through the trouble of trying to balance out not being too loud just to avoid accidentally waking up anyone. So I think, yeah, I would just wait until tomorrow if I got nothing else better to do. Maybe do a live stream tomorrow as well. Just don't know if it's going to be in the morning or in the evening. Somewhere around that time. So thanks to everyone who tuned in, and I hope y'all had a good day. Good night, good evening, good morning, whatever time it is for you. Good day.